Sister Wives star Jenn gives an update on her husband's cancer diagnosis. Fans of Sister Wives know that a lot of people, either in the cast or related to the cast, have been fighting cancer. The most recent news is not about Janelle Brown, who had skin cancer in 2021. And it's not about Robin Brown's ex-husband, David Preston Jessup. It's about Jenn Sullivan's spouse, not Meri Brown. Jenn Sullivan has been friends with Meri Brown for a long time. Long before Meri left Cody, she and Jenn started their weekly Fridays with Friends Instagram Live. Since Meri's mom died, she had been in charge of Lizzie's heritage in Parowan. And more recently, she was on the show to support Meri. The news happened early this year. Sean had cancer. Sadly, doctors diagnosed him with a rare type of cancer called sarcoma. He has had surgery and started radiation therapy. Jenn told her TLC followers this month how the cancer was affecting her. Followers of Sister Wives appreciate Jenn, so they hope Sean gets better soon. She went into more detail on the type of cancer Sean has in this month's update. She has been posting a lot about cancer to raise awareness, and in one of them, she went into more detail about the diagnosis. She wrote a post with a wreath that said July is Sarcoma Awareness Month. In it, she said that at first, her husband assumed an insect had attacked him.
But it was a lot worse than that.
She stated, there are more than one type of sarcoma. Jenn Sullivan told her followers that he had been wrongly diagnosed with angiosarcoma. Instead, it was myxoid liposarcoma. Sadly, it started to spread to other pimples. So, she told her TLC viewers to snap pictures and keep a close eye on their bumps. Getting therapy early can be very crucial.
But
after their divorce in 2023, Cody Brown and Meri Brown from TLC's Sister Wives had a startling change in their relationship. This wasn't even their first divorce. They had a legal divorce in 2014 so Cody could marry Robin Brown. They stayed spiritually wedded until Meri asked for a release from the church in 2022 after 32 years of marriage. After the divorce, they had some surprising moments of closeness, such when Cody helped Meri move to Utah and cried. Meri was confused by this emotional exchange, which happened in an episode in November 2024. Cody and Meri was married in April 1990, making them the first of Cody's 4 wives in their polygamist household. Meri, who was only 22 years old at the time, and Cody had a strong kinship because they both believed in the Apostolic United Brethren religion. In 1995, they had a daughter named Mariah Brown, now Leon Brown. But Meri's problems with getting pregnant put a strain on their marriage. In 1993, Cody married Janelle Brown. In 1994, he married Christine Brown. In 2010, he married Robin Brown. In 2014, Meri formally divorced Cody so he could adopt Robin's kids, but they stayed spiritually married. The pair had problems, such Meri's 2015 catfishing scandal, which made them emotionally distant and caused them to be apart for years. Meri asked for a release from the church in 2022, which ended their spiritual marriage. Even still, there were times in Sister Wives season 19 when the two seemed to bond in ways that were surprising, such when Cody helped Meri move to Utah. Their past, which was full of love, conflict, and the difficulties of polygamy, turned into a practical relationship after they got divorced. In Sister Wives season 19, Cody said that he often calls Meri his favorite ex-wife, which upset his other exes, Janelle and Christine. The comment came up during a sad time when Cody helped Meri move to Utah, and they thought about their 32-year marriage. Janelle said in a confessional that she was upset because the label made her feel like her history with Cody was less important. Christine, who is now happily married to David Woolley, said it was Cody's way of rewriting history. Cody's relationship with Meri is going well, but his ties with Janelle and Christine are still strained after Sister Wives season 19. Janelle lives in North Carolina and doesn't talk to Cody or Robin anymore. During the June 2025 tell-all, she dubbed Cody a failure in plural marriage, which showed how angry she was. Christine, who left in 2021, doesn't talk to her ex-husband directly. Christine and Janelle are great friends, and they are both intent on starting over. But after months of emotional ups and downs and soul-searching, Janelle Brown decided it was time to start a new chapter in her life. She moved far away from Flagstaff's desert sands, away from the tense dinners and the fading memories of a family that used to be together. She packed minimally, but she had a plan. One bag full of things she needed, one box of old photo albums, and a heart full of memories, some good, some bad. Where was she going? A little, tranquil village on the coast of Maine where an old acquaintance had offered her a place to stay and promised her peace. A new beginning in Camden, Maine. Janelle had never lived any place like Camden before. The air smelt like salt and pine, and every morning she woke up to the lovely sound of waves and the screams of gulls in the distance. The people who lived there were kind and interested, especially in the new woman who had been married to 3 other ladies at the same time. But Janelle didn't care that people were curious. She was finally free to be herself. She rented a tiny home near the harbor with a big porch where she could drink coffee at dawn and write in her journal at twilight when it was peaceful. She began volunteering at a community garden, where she found satisfaction in digging, planting, and watching things grow again. This was something she hadn't been able to do in the last year with Cody. Janelle wasn't simply running away from her past. She was also constructing a new identity for herself. For years, she had been one of Cody's wives, which meant she was in a multiple marriage that didn't let her feel seen anymore. But in Camden, she was just Janelle. Smart, independent, and free to find her voice again. She signed up for evening studies in sustainable agriculture at a nearby college and started writing a business plan for a small organic farm-to-table cooperative. She wanted to help other women, especially single mothers and women from non-traditional backgrounds, become financially independent through the land. Christine sent Janelle a handwritten note on a rainy afternoon. "I'm proud of you, Janelle. You're doing what we all should have done a long time ago, putting yourself first. I'm in if you ever want to work together on a retreat for women in the West. Always love you." Janelle clasped the letter to her chest and let the tears fall softly down her face. Even though their paths had separated, their friendship was still strong. She learned that sisterhood didn't require Cody to live. She wasn't looking for love, but it found her anyhow. She met Daniel, a widowed woodworker with a lovely smile and calm fortitude, at a farmer's market near her. He didn't know her from TV, didn't care about her history, and didn't ask her any personal questions. He just acted like she was someone he wanted to know. They started to spend quiet evenings together cooking, walking, and conversing. Janelle felt like she was really being heard for the first time in years. Janelle's next chapter in the East was not just about where she was going, it was about freedom. She discovered clarity amid the quiet of coastal Maine. She found hope again in the kindness of strangers. And she found a future where she didn't have to ask anyone for permission to be happy. In a local interview months later, Janelle said, "I used to think my life had to fit into a man's vision. But now I know that I can make my own."
And it's pretty, but
The Holbrook family resided in the tranquil desert town of Juniper Hills, which was surrounded by rust-colored cliffs and untamed sagebrush. Many people talked about them, but few really understood them. Elias Holbrook was at the center of it all. He was a charming and very spiritual man who believed in the idea of plural marriage. He had 4 wives, Mara, Celeste, June, and Talia. Each of them was different in terms of personality, dreams, and problems. They lived in a round house with 4 wings, one for each woman and her children. The center of the house was a common space where the family could eat and gather. People outside their home questioned their way of life, but inside, they fought hard to make their unusual family work. Mara, the first wife, had always been the leader of the family. She was smart, down-to-earth, and fiercely loyal. But lately, she had begun to feel like no one could see her. Elias didn't spend much time with her anymore. Many evenings, she sat alone in her room, her mind racing like a desert sandstorm. She had given up her youth, her job goals, and even her family's approval for this life, but now she wondered if it had all been worth it. Celeste, the second wife, was the romantic, the painter, and the poet. She was the one who always brought warmth and creativity to the household. But she could feel that something was changing. Elias had been aloof because he was busy building a business in town. He was now more interested in the younger wives, notably Talia. June, The third wife was powerful and sensible. She was the one who patched damaged pipes, handled the money, and reared her kids like a general. But she was starting to lose her cool too. The togetherness they had worked for was falling apart. And what about Elias? He didn't appear to care. Talia was the youngest wife. She was kind, spontaneous, and fresh to being in a plural marriage. She was still getting used to the rhythms of sharing a husband and a life with 3 other women. But to the others, it looked like Elias had fallen in love with her all over again. One summer night, while everyone was at the unusual family dinner, things finally got out of hand. June talked to Elias about not being there. Celeste cried and said she felt like no one cared. Mara hadn't said anything in weeks, but then she stood up and exclaimed, "We built this house to share love, not loneliness." Talia sat quietly, not sure if she was to blame or merely the last straw for something that had been building for years. Elias tried to calm everyone down. He kept saying, "I still love each of you." "I'm just stretched thin," Mara, on the other hand, cut in. "No, Elias. You're not stretched. You're making a choice." Something surprising happened the next morning. The wives met in private, not Elias. For the first time in a long time, they talked to each other honestly, woman to woman. They talked about their pain, rage, and regrets. And little by little, they started to understand one another again. Talia wasn't to blame. Not even Elias was completely to blame. The edifice they had tried to create was falling apart because it was too heavy. Mara, who used to be the leader, offered a bold suggestion. "What if we didn't wait for Elias to repair this?
What if we did it ourselves?"
They all agreed. They came up with a fresh plan together. Each wife would have her own freedom in terms of money, emotions, and faith. They would still live together, but they wouldn't have to plan their lives around Elias's schedule anymore. He had to earn his position in their life, just like everyone else. Elias was shocked but grateful. The balance of power had changed for the first time. He had to make a choice: keep doing what he was doing or treat these strong women as equals. The Halbrooks were not the same family a year later. They were stronger, more honest, and more self-sufficient. Mara built a women's retreat center in the desert to help women from all walks of life find their voice. Celeste wrote a book of poems called For Wings, One House. June owned a solar energy firm that delivered clean power to small villages. Talia also started studying psychology to learn more about how poly families work. He was more present and thought about things more. He didn't lead anymore, he listened. People in town still talked behind the Halbrooks' backs, but they didn't care. Their family wasn't ideal, but it was real. And sometimes, in the middle of the desert, it's all that matters. But as the sun set behind the great red granite cliffs of Flagstaff, it cast a golden light over the Brown family cul-de-sac. The polygamous family that used to be one was now slowly falling apart, thread by emotional thread. Cody tried to keep up the appearance of a working multiple marriage, but there were problems, notably between Meri and the other women. The first wife, Meri, sat alone in her living room. The quiet in her house was deep, nearly too much to bear. There was a lot of laughter and family feasts in her space, and sister spouses came and went. It felt like a museum of recollections now. She gently drank her tea while looking at a picture of the family in happier times that was framed. Christine was already gone, Janelle was getting distant, and Robin had become the favorite. And what about Meri? She was the odd one out in a marriage she had hoped for decades before. Meri was the one who started it all years ago, the person who helped Cody's dream of a big family come true. She embraced Janelle, Christine, and Robin with open arms. Meri believed in love, sacrifice, and unity, even though it was hard. But everything changed. Meri felt less seen the more spouses Cody brought in. Love turned into fights. Like dirty clothes, misunderstandings kept piling up. And her relationship with Cody, which had been great before, became strained as they stopped being emotionally connected. This was made worse by Meri's catfishing scandal and her problems with getting pregnant. The other spouses were cordial, but they had already made deals without her. Cody's unofficial headquarters was Robin's house. He was always there to help with housework, take care of the kids, and rest his head. Meri watched from a distance, hurt but too proud to ask for help. One afternoon, Janelle asked all the spouses, even Meri, to come to her lawn for a family meeting. These days, it was rare. You could feel the stress. Janelle put homemade lemonade on the table and remarked, "I think we need to talk about how disconnected we've all become." Christine, who was returning for a visit, stared at Meri with sympathetic eyes. "We used to be a group. We used to fight for each other, not against each other." Meri's throat got constricted. "I didn't leave. I stayed. Even after Cody stopped calling. Even when the rest of you stopped knocking on my door." Robin seemed uneasy. "Meri, it wasn't personal." "But it felt personal," Meri replied in a calm but forceful voice. "It still does." It was quiet. A long, dense quiet. Cody came over later that night and was astonished to see all the women there. "What is going on?" he asked. "What?" Meri got up. "We're talking about you. About us. About what used to be a family." Cody let out a sigh. "We've talked about this, Meri. Things got different. People drift apart." "But did you try to grow with me, Cody?" she asked, her voice getting a little louder. Cody didn't say anything.
Christine leaned in.
"Perhaps this family needs honesty more than it needs more than one wife." Meri felt tired yet lighter when she left the gathering. She had told them the truth for the first time, not in front of a camera or a therapist. The wives. The ones she used to call sisters. Robin knocked on Meri's door later that week. "Is it okay if I come in?" Meri nodded. The two women sat in an awkward way, not knowing how to start. Robin finally admitted, "I was wrong. I should have been there for you more." Meri's eyes filled with tears. "I just wanted to fit in again." At that moment, there was no competition. No order. Two ladies striving to find the sisterhood they lost in the ruins of a broken family. Meri made a choice months later. She got a cottage in Utah and started going there often. Not to run away, but to start over. She developed a retreat space for ladies who want to heal emotionally called the Reclaimed Heart. Cody came by once. Only once. They spoke. There was no more fury. Only acceptance. Meri's tale was only starting, even if her marriage was finished. And what about how the wives get along? It would never be perfect. But at least now there was space for the truth. Space for healing. And maybe, just maybe, there is room for peace. Hello, beautiful viewers. Welcome to my channel. I'm Sabrina, and I hope you're having a great day. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you appreciate the video.